All right, let's jump right in. When you picture India, you probably think of this huge, sprawling map. But what if we explored it differently? Today, we're going to look at its incredible diversity through three completely different worlds. We're talking unique stories, distinct flavors, all inside this one amazing country. It's a really cool question, right? How does the taste of a place tell its history? I mean, think about it. Is there a smell or a taste that just, poof, takes you right back to a specific memory? That's the power we're talking about, that link between memory, taste, and history. And that's exactly where we're starting our journey today, on the coast. Okay, so our first stop, Goa. Now, I know what you're thinking, beaches, parties, but nope, we're talking about something way more fundamental. We're talking about bread. Yeah, bread. And how this simple, everyday food actually tells the story of a colonial past that you can still feel and taste today. And what's so fascinating is this sense of nostalgia. You see, the Portuguese rulers, they're long gone, but their best legacy, arguably their most delicious one, their bread, oh, that stuck around. The bakers, the mixers, the furnaces, they're all still there, keeping that piece of history alive, one loaf at a time. So, to really get this story, you need to meet the main character, the pater. Now, this isn't just a guy who bakes bread. The pater is an institution, a vital part of the daily rhythm of the village. Just imagine, you're waking up and you hear this very specific sound, a thud and jingle from a bamboo staff. That sound, that's your alarm clock. That's how the village started its day. And this is where you see just how deep this bread culture goes. It is not just for breakfast. I mean, look at this. A wedding gift isn't complete without a special sweetbread called ball. A party just isn't right without bread. Engagements require sandwiches. Christmas, other festivals, they have their own special cakes and bolinas. Literally, every single major life event is connected to something that comes out of that potter's furnace. And it's not just about the bread, it's about the baker's whole identity. Even what they wore was iconic. Back in the Portuguese era, they wore this thing called a cabai, which was a single long frock. But later on, this evolved into a very specific look, a shirt and trousers that were, well, they were kind of unique. Shorter than full pants, but longer than shorts. This style got so linked to them that even today, if you wear pants like that, someone might joke, hey, you're dressed like a pater. And let's be real, this was a good gig. Being a pater was a profitable profession. The source material is pretty clear. The baker and his family, they never went hungry. In fact, it says their plump physique was basically an open sign of just how well they were doing. It was like a walking advertisement for their success. They were prosperous, happy, and absolutely essential to their community. Okay, time to do a complete 180. We're leaving the warm bakeries of the coast behind and heading inland, way inland, to a land of rolling hills and high adventure. Welcome to Coorg in Karnataka. This is a place known for its coffee, its spices, and its fiercely independent people. I mean, just listen to that description. A piece of heaven that must have drifted from the kingdom of God. Wow. How can you hear that and not want to pack your bags right now? It just perfectly paints this picture of a place that's almost mythical, you know? It's not just beautiful, it's literally described as a little slice of heaven that fell to earth. So what exactly is this place? Well, Coorg, or Kodagu as it's also known, might be the smallest district in Karnataka, but man, does it pack a punch. You've got these incredible evergreen rainforests, huge coffee plantations, and gardens overflowing with spices. And on top of all that nature, it's home to a very proud, very distinct martial race of people. And when I say lush, I mean really lush. Check out this number, 30%. A full 30% of Coorg is covered in evergreen rainforests. Can you imagine that? And during the monsoons, it's even more intense. The air itself is supposed to be filled with the smell of coffee. What a place. But the people here, the Kodavas, are just as fascinating as the landscape. Their origins are a bit of a mystery, actually. There are these two competing theories. One story says they're descended from Greeks, part of Alexander the Great's army that got stranded here and just never left. The other theory points to an Arab origin, and the clue is in their traditional dress, this long black coat with an embroidered belt called a kufiya. It looks a lot like the kufiya worn by Arabs and Kurds. Pretty compelling, right? And that independence is no joke. The Kadavas are known for being fiercely independent, but also incredibly hospitable. They have a long, proud history of bravery. I mean, the Coorg Regiment is one of the most decorated in the entire Indian Army. The very first chief of the Indian Army, General Karyappa, he was a Corgi. And maybe the biggest testament to their trusted reputation is this. To this day, they are the only people in all of India allowed to carry firearms without a license. That says a lot. So you've got this amazing culture, incredible coffee. But wait, there's more. Coorg's landscape is basically an adventure park. We're talking river rafting, canoeing, rappelling, rock climbing, mountain biking, you name it. It's the kind of place that could turn even the most relaxed, laid-back person into a total adrenaline junkie. Okay, buckle up for one last big jump. We are heading way over to the northeast of India, to Assam. And this last story is all about a drink that, let's be honest, most of the world probably can't function without. Yep, we're talking about tea. We're going to follow the trail of tea, from ancient legends right up to the massive plantations you see today. And just to give you an idea of how big a deal tea is, look at this number, 80 crore. Now, for those of you not familiar with that term, that is 800 million. That's how many cups of tea are drunk across the globe every single day. It's a massive global obsession, and a huge part of that story starts right here in Assam. So where did this stuff even come from? The truth is, nobody knows for sure, but the legends are amazing. There's a Chinese one about an emperor who was boiling water and some leaves just happened to fall in. He loved the flavor, and boom, tea was born. Then you have the Indian legend. It's about a Buddhist monk named Bodhidharma who cut off his eyelids to stay awake during meditation. A little intense, I know, but the story goes that 10 tea plants grew right where his eyelids fell, and the leaves could banish sleep. Kinda gruesome, but what a story, right? And this obsession with tea goes way, way back. We're talking ancient history. It was first drunk in China, way back in 2700 BC. It didn't even get to Europe until the 16th century, and back then, people drank it more like medicine. The real game changer was the 19th century. That's when the British came in and set up these massive tea plantations in Assam, kicking off the huge global industry that we have today. And this quote, it just transports you there, doesn't it? A sea of tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see. You can just picture it, these vast green fields stretching on forever, and then these tiny, doll-like figures of the tea pluckers moving through the neat rows. It really gives you a sense of the sheer scale and the quiet beauty of these tea gardens. So there you have it. We went from the bakeries of Goa to the misty hills of Coorg, and finally to the massive tea gardens of Assam. 3 completely different places, right? Each with its own story, its own flagship product, its own unique culture. All of them just single threads in this huge, beautiful, complex quilt that is India. And this table really just lays it all out nice and simple. You've got Goa, where everything revolves around bread, a direct taste at its Portuguese history. Then there's Coorg, defined by coffee and spices, tied directly to the martial traditions of the Kudavu people. And finally, Assam, where it's all about tea, a product that shaped its history through global trade and the British Empire. 3 places, 3 products, 3 totally different stories. And that really is the whole point. These aren't just random, charming little stories. They're a window into how a nation's identity is actually built. It's forged from things like the lingering taste of a colonial power in one place, the ancient traditions of a warrior people in another, and the demands of global trade somewhere else entirely. So it kind of makes you think, doesn't it? If just these 3 quick glimpses can show us 3 completely different worlds, just imagine how many other stories, how many other worlds are out there waiting in India.